Welcome to Catch the Dream Bios, where we tell stories of Native Americans who inspire not only their own people, but the whole world.
I didn't even know I was going to be a singer, but I wrote songs. These days, people call me an innovator or a pioneer.
She blows me away from the last time. Amazing, amazing performance tonight.
People were listening right from the beginning, right from the first time I stepped on stage. I love Buffy. I love Buffy. So for me, the art of a 3.5-minute song is perfect.
He really loved it. Oh. I loved her. I thought she was absolutely amazing.
It was perfect and perfect.
Stunning, amazing, creative, metaphoric woman.
I've always kind of had both the advantage and disadvantage of being somewhat underground artist, almost unknown anymore in the U.S., very well known in some places. I feel very much rewarded in my life. You know, I haven't had a huge career like Madonna. I haven't made fortunes upon fortunes upon fortunes like Michael Jackson. But I've gotten to see things that those guys didn't get to see and spend time with people who've taught me amazing things. I mean, people on reserves who never went to high school have taught me things that I could never have learned in high school. Professionally and privately, I know what the great stages of Europe are about. You know, I played in hot places in Hong Kong and Paris, and on the other hand, during the same week, I do a concert in some reserve nobody ever heard of, just all by myself.
Buffy Sainte-Marie knows where she came from. Being an Indian has motivated her soul since she was born. In the early days, it connected with a great sense of injustice.
I'm told that Paipot means between two, as in between two cultures, or between two languages, which is very kind of coincidental. You know, maybe that's the translation that I best remember because it kind of feels like, you know, I'm between two. When you're growing up and it's rumored that you're adopted, I mean, you don't know what to think. When I was in my late teens, I returned to the people in Saskatchewan. Whether or not we're birth-related, it doesn't matter. There's a Cree tradition of if a family has lost a child, then they always leave their hearts open for that spot to be filled by another son or daughter. So I'm very lucky. I've had two families. I've had a family who raised me in a white community and a family who took me into a Cree community. I was born a musician. I was a musician from the earliest time. My earliest play was in music. So I was a natural musician, and my sense of spirituality was exactly the same. So for me, when they say you're made in the image of the Creator, I mean, that's it. You know, that's the green light for all creativity. I was alone a lot as a kid, and music was my Barbie doll and my sports. And there were a lot of bullies and pedophiles in my neighborhood, so I, tended not to go out and socialize and stuff. I had some very hard times as a kid, but because I loved music so much, I didn't miss hanging with the bullies. As a musician, I'm dyslexic in music. Nobody taught me how to play. I never could take lessons. Chet Atkins told me that somebody had asked him, if he could read music. And he said, not enough to hurt my playing. In the 60s, you could turn on the radio, and for some crazy reason, you could hear flamenco next to Delta blues, you could hear 400-year-old Welsh folk songs, you could hear contemporary songwriters, one after the other. You can hear the music of India at a festival the same time you can hear rockabilly musicians, you know, or bluegrass. There weren't any hippies yet. The draft was on, and young people had discovered our brains. You know what? You don't have to go to music school to be a musician. Oh, really? No, music's natural. Oh, really? Oh, give me that guitar. Oh, that's fun. I think I'll do it some more. Wow, I can play the guitar. I mean, it's that simple. There was music everywhere. There were people writing poems. There were comedians. You know, people like Bill Cosby were coming up. You know, Dick Gregory. Oh, the list goes on and on.
But the fate of their baby was a many times worse. And it's real, and it's real time.
In 1962, I went to Greenwich Village for the first time. I sang at a couple of hootenannies. One of them was at Gertie's Folk City. Bob Dylan saw me at Gertie's, and he was the one who suggested I go over to the Gaslight. It was a little dark coffee house. This one summer I was singing a lot there. Vanguard Records were interested in me, and so was Blue Note Records. And I think it was Vanguard who brought Bob Shelton down, or it may have been Bob Shelton who brought Vanguard down. I don't know. Anyway, Bob Shelton, who was a writer for the New York Times, he came and he wrote this big article about me, and he just loved it. He just got it.
Stay away from the cities, stay away from the towns.
And I was playing the guitar in all kinds of upside-down, inside-out tunings, and that was different. And I looked like I did. I was dressing out of the Fredericks catalog. I wasn't trying to copy anybody else. I didn't even know who to copy.
For better you'll pay than be caught on poor dime. And it's real.
Greenwich Village in those days was very, very interesting. And if I had not come in that particular narrowly open window at that time, I never would have had a career in show business.
Guided by her hold-nothing-back spirit, Buffy gravitated away from the ever-growing militant crowds and faced down racism and violence with her music, educating audiences about positive Indigenous realities and nonviolent alternative conflict resolution.
I mean, Universal Soldier, I had people get really mad at me. And My Country, 'Tis of Thy People, You're Dying, and Now the Buffalo's Gone? And Aboriginal things? Oh, I had people just, you know, ask for their money back, you know, get mad at the club owner. For real. The songs have always been about all of us. They were never only about Native people. Sometimes I would be stereotyped as the little Indian girl who'll make you cry. I don't do things through violence or protest. I'm an intellectual. I'm a writer. I help at a grassroots level in a whole different way. I'm a teacher and an artist. Nobody tells you when you're being blacklisted. You know, you might think, oh, she must have been just so angry at those politicians for, you know, taking her music off the airwaves and writing letters to radio stations.
I think in this life, if you're blacklisted, you're probably doing something right. You know, all the great artists of our time were blacklisted. Norval Morrisseau, Jane Fonda, Buffy Sainte-Marie.
I had no idea that I was under surveillance by the FBI until the 80s, until my career had been drowned for 20 years. With Lyndon Johnson, he did not want me talking about a war, because at the time they were saying there is no war in Vietnam. He is the universal soldier, and he really is to blame. But his orders come from far away no more. You know, I talked to medics in the middle of the night who told me, yeah, there is a war. I'd seen wounded soldiers, right? I was on huge nighttime television shows, in major magazines, so I had to be put out of business.
Blacklist aside, Buffy found herself fighting the good fight. For her, it was all about replacing negative stereotypes with positive realities.
I knew that my career would never resume. I finally understood it. And it was good to understand it. It was good to understand what had happened, why it had happened. The thing that bothered me most about it, of course, was being denied an audience, because I considered myself a person who had a medicine, and I wanted to give it to people who could use it to be inspired or to do something with it. Because I think that had they not suppressed my career, I may have done things in the United States that would have an impact today.
Along the way, Buffy consistently wrote songs of love that other artists made world famous.
You're not a dream, you're not an angel, you're a man.
Chet Atkins, Shirley Bassey, Boston Pops Orchestra with Arthur Fiedler, Glenn Campbell, Eva Cassidy, Petula Clark, Richard Kleiderman, Cher a bunch of times, Joe Cocker, Bobby Darin, Neil Diamond, Roberta Flack, George Hamilton IV, Françoise Hardy, Indigo Girls, Janis Joplin, Cleo Lane, Lorinda Almeida Trio, Courtney Love, Luca Bloom, Vera Lynn, Maureen McGovern, Carmen McRae, Jim Neighbors, Willie Nelson, New Birth, Phyllis Newman, Elvis Presley, Quicksilver Messenger Service, Sax by Moonlight, Earl Scruggs, Nancy Sinatra, Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion, Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, John Tesh Project, Sweet Honey and the Rock Grover Washington Jr., Dottie West, Andy Williams, Roger Williams, BB and CeCe Winan, Glenn Yarbrough, and me.
You're not a dream, you're not an angel, you're a man. And I'm not a queen, I'm a woman, take my hand. We'll make a space in the lives that we'd planned. And here we'll stay until it's time for you to go.
Elvis did Until It's Time for You to Go 8 or 9 times, and then he was gonna put it in a movie, and then he was gonna put it on TV. So, yeah, he recorded it over and over again, and I'm told that it was Elvis Presley's love song with his wife, with Priscilla.
My favorite Buffy song has to be Until It's Time for You to Go.
Yes, we're different worlds apart, we're not the same.
Leaving space in your romantic life for love to happen in a different way. Oh, you mean it doesn't have to be forever? Nobody says that, especially girls don't say that. I mean, I was just different. I wrote Universal Soldier when I was still in college, and the students in Greenwich Village, they got it immediately.
He's 5'2", and he's 6'4".
They didn't want to go to somebody's damn war and make somebody a fortune over there by killing somebody else's students.
He's the one who must decide who's to live and who's to die. And he never sees the writing on the walls.
While soldiers were in Vietnam, they were carving lyrics from Universal Soldier on their bunks. Smithsonian Magazine a few years ago sent me, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters and faxes and emails that they had gotten about Universal Soldier. I really care about what Universal Soldier says. I really do. I think it makes sense. You know, without you and me and everybody else, Caesar would have stood alone. We're the ones who make war because we tolerate it.
Indian legislation's on the desk of a do-right congressman. Now, he don't know much about the issues, so he picks up the phone and...
Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Hands down, no contest, is the strongest song she's ever done in her life.
You can dance to it. It's got great guitar solos, you know? More people will like it. They don't realize that it's about, you know, Annie Mae and Leonard Peltier and that kind of issue of Native people just being trounced by the system and in the courts while, you know, while reservation land is being stolen. Little Wheel Spin and Spin was not racially based at all. Hearts they shrink, pockets swell, everybody know, nobody tell. I was doing that in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. But it's only now that people are starting to see those songs as having been, well, they're going on today. So I think as a young songwriter, it was very fortunate for me to be around that and to get to appreciate different styles and universal themes. I wrote this song at my piano, right? Da 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 da. Jack Nietzsche, who's an just incredibly brilliant movie composer, yeah? He couldn't come up with a melody. He asked me what I'd been playing, and I played him what he decided to use as not only the main theme for An Officer and a Gentleman, the song Up Where We Belong, but also the main theme of the movie.
It would have to be Up Where We Belong. I love Joe Cocker. And I didn't know that she wrote that song till, I guess, a couple of years later.
It became Up Where We Belong. But it was just this little simple melody I wrote, you know, for my own pleasure. I never would have thought that anything that I ever wrote would win an Academy Award. I got no place to go. I got down by the riverside, a little more head. When I was around 12, I was supposed to be down in the basement ironing my clothes, but I had discovered the radio and I was listening to rockabilly and early rhythm and blues. I was crazy about Carl Perkins and Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, Scotty Moore, Lonnie Donegan, the Platters, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Bo Diddley. So I had that in me. I used to sit there and play Swan Lake, and then I'd play Jerry Lee Lewis. And that's true. I was two things. I was a songwriter and I was an emotional person who really cared about some things. And I loved to have fun with music. And that's a funny little combination. I've always allowed emotion to be there because I think emotion is such an important part of some songs. Oh, you better wake up. Man, it's like you're dead and gone. And I know some of my songs are funny, some are lighthearted, some are just love songs, some are just fun to dance to. Some sound like Elvis Presley rockabilly songs. I have hundreds and hundreds of songs that I've recorded. Most of them have never been, nobody's paid any attention to them because they're all overshadowed by the songs that have become hits. Most of my albums have been really, really diverse. It's just because that's how it is for me. Somebody else does it a different way, but that's how I do it. But because of the internet now, it's almost like it was in the 60s. You can see the whole world much bigger than you could 10 years ago. Computers, just really opened it up for me because then I could do everything in this one little machine and put my paintings and my music and my writings and my thinking and my business and my calendars and everything just onto a floppy disk. This was in the 80s. My fellow musicians just thought I was crazy. Computers, you do your taxes with a computer. Oh, you're gonna make computer music, eh? Oh. Yeah, they didn't know what it was about. When you come out they say you're made in the image of the Creator. I mean, that's it. You know, that's the green light for all creativity. We create our worlds, we create our families, you know, we create our love relationships, we create our lives and our music and our dance and our thinking. And so for me, the stage as a holy place is just natural. I spend a lot of time on a lot of airplanes, a lot of time with too many people around, a lot of time with nobody around. So I have extremes that I very much enjoy.
In the end, it all comes down to one thing for Buffy. Nahiwan. Be your culture.
I still think that she's sort of like the Indian Tina Turner, if you will.
Do you know what? If you want to learn something from me, listen to Soldier Blue and listen to Up Where We Belong. Learn a few more chords. Go someplace interesting. I'm not only pushing myself to always enjoy the experimentation, but I'm trying to push other people to do it because it's fun. And when you come up with something original, oh, everybody's gonna like it.